Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, they're supposed to speak English.
Can I give you a hug?
Yes, please.
I know. Kira.
Katja.
Nice to meet you.
Nice
Where are
to
you
meet
from?
I'm from Kherson.
Oh, gosh.
The city on the south.
I know that. Yeah.
What about you? Where are you from?
I'm from Moscow
Right.
originally. I spent a lot of time living sort of in the States and in the UK. I mean, I've got friends in Ukraine. I've got friends in Mariupol who don't have connection to their family. I've got friends in Kiev. I've got friends who managed to get out. All of us have friends or have been to Ukraine
Absolutely.
or, have family there. It's such a mixed culture that, I mean, as in, like, it's like England attacking Scotland. It just doesn't happen.
Hey.
Hello. How are you?
I am very bad. However, I know I'm better than you at the moment. Because it is happening in your country, because of my country. And nothing is worse than a war.
There's almost no words to describe
There are no words.
what is happening in this world right now. But it gives me hope to see that we are all opposed to war,
We are.
no matter our heritage.
No matter. It's a war with friends.
Yeah. It's the war of Putin. One power-hungry madman that wants to restore something that shouldn't exist in a modern world.
Where are you from?
I'm from Ukraine, obviously. I'm from the western part. I'm from the part that's always been very Ukrainian and very pro-West. These days, it's also the part that's the safest and where a lot of people seek refuge. Where are you from?
I'm from Moscow. Also from the part of Russia, from the community, which has never been a huge supporter, well, practically never been a supporter of the current government and particularly what's happening now.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Hard.
Considering, yeah, with the minus of everything that's happening.
I'm Tanya.
Masha. Is your family safe?
Yesterday they fled from Kiev. They were evacuated on the train.
Good.
There are 3 trains, and obviously they're very crowded. And it's
Yeah.
like on the railway station, it's a kind of revolution. It's really difficult to get out, but yeah, they managed, and now they're in the western part of
Oh,
Ukraine.
that's good.
So yeah, it was first night them outside home, and
Yeah.
first night without bombing. Thanks God.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually it was the first night when I slept a bit better.
Yeah, I can imagine.
First days of this thing, I was just crying. Then I got very strong desire for suicide. You can't sleep. You don't want to eat. You can't work. You can't think of anything but this. Thinking about how I will tell about these days to my children, because I don't want to be in this presence.
I feel, and I have felt almost every day like I'm in fight or flight mode. I have this adrenaline that is, I'm channeling into action. and huge fear for my friends and family that remain, because Putin cannot be reasoned with, and he's only showed that when he's backed into a corner, he hits harder.
What's been the worst moment in the last 2 weeks?
For myself, it was when my mom called me at 5 a.m. So I knew something is wrong, and she was just crying, and she said, they're bombing us, we're running. I'm like, where are you running? She said, well, we're just going to this different house, to the basement, we're grabbing the baby now, and I was shaking, I didn't know what to do. It was absolutely devastating. You don't know where to put yourself. You can't help them. All you can do is just to try and call them, but you also feel almost bad because you don't know when maybe they're running, maybe they're doing something, maybe they're holding something, they can't answer your phone, and if they don't answer, the stress you start feeling, and it's inexplainable unless someone has lived through it. It's the worst thing ever.
The worst moment was to find this news that it's actually started. Like I screamed. It was at night. Yeah, I started to read news and screamed and cried. And I'm very worried that my aunt, she's now in her house near to Kiev, and she's not in touch anymore. I know that there are Russian armies coming close to that particular area, and there is no connection with her, and we don't know what's happening. So it just one member of my family just disappeared now, and so I hope that she's all right there, but we don't know what's happening.
I cried terribly when I found out, because I woke up and I saw the messages from my friends in Ukraine. But I think the worst happened on 6th day, when it was understood that it's going to continue. And then I started crying and I couldn't stop for 2 hours. I feel torn from my own family. I don't think my son will be able to see grandparents for a while. It's a small thing.
Your parents are in Russia now, in Perm?
I don't think.
And do they support all this, or?
Part of them. So, just obvious to me. I don't understand why it's not obvious to them. And I can't be silent about this, because my friends are there. So I'm vocal in every social media channel. Call it the war, which means I can't come back unless I won 15 years of colony in my own country. So I will never come back until it's over.
The very first text from my dad, where he said, oh my God, we kind of have a war starting here, and no panic, love you a lot. And when I called him, he said that he's not leaving under any circumstances because he has people to take care of. And that was the scariest part, because then, like, I want to see my dad. I just want to see him, and I don't know when.
I'm so sorry. I can't believe you. Yeah, it is not, but I'm still very sorry.
What's been the worst moment for you, Tina?
The worst moment, it's like this one big moment, but actually this thing worries me as well, that I don't know if and when I'll be able to go home and see my family. My family is physically safe and all of this, but it feels awful. It feels really bad. I don't know how else to describe this. It is really painful. And I guess like after the first day, you kind of try to just like, okay, what can I do? And like how I can get on with my life and try to help like as much as possible. You kind of want to think about like who you put on risk if you do something. At the same time, you kind of don't want to think about this because that's the kind of thinking that they want and that's how they win. But all of this is like a continuous, like one horrible moment, I would say.
Tina, you said there that you're worried, it can be a worry for people talking out because they might put people at risk back in Russia.
Yeah.
But you're still here today and you're still talking about this right now. Why did you decide to come today?
Well, I agreed before they passed the law. But I have Russian friends who like risk so much more, and I can see Russian people talking and they literally risk their whole career, their families, like everything, and they still speak up, and I'm like, I mean, I'm sorry. Like, I literally, there's nothing for me to, not much for me to be scared of. Although we'll see, right? You never know. So
I had a couple of Russian friends from like years ago reach out on the first day, and they were like, yeah, we're so supportive, we're gonna go out. And then 2-3 days after, and they're just quiet. And I know it's scary to go to these places because you can just be put in like a truck and taken away to prison. But it's much scarier to be in a bomb shelter. And there are a lot of Russians in London that I know personally that just kind of post these like black squares with no war, and it's it. And it just puts me in this situation of like despair, and like it gets exhausting just trying to say something to people while also checking all the news and being scared to like open your phone, because what if it's like your relatives who didn't survive? And
this is,
it's not a personal attack, of course. It's just like the thoughts that I've been having.
It's very disheartening to see that people are not doing enough in Russia. It's like, you have to stand for this, but you don't. Why don't you? To explain all of this is just the feeling that you have, like there is nothing can be done. In Russia, this feeling was cultivated for like decades. The propaganda, the brainwashing, it was a gradual demolishing of the whole landscape. People were leaving, politicians were arrested, some were killed. And you're like, well, those big people, they tried and they failed. So now I will probably try, and most likely I will fail, and it's not gonna help. And I will just lose my life.
There's so much poison, especially in the rural areas that have listened to Putin's propaganda for over 20 years when he's been in control. Even those with relatives in Ukraine don't believe that this war is happening. How do we bring truth when there has been such systematic indoctrination?
Last night, there were some hackers who hacked Russian TV. Isn't it cool?
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yesterday, a couple of my friends were detained in St. Petersburg and in Moscow for going on the protests. And
14,000 people were detained already.
And they had like a special female column, like a pro-feministic movement, was also going outside in the streets, and a couple of them were tortured in the police station. But unfortunately, it's not a big number. I wish I could say the majority of Russians don't support that, but I don't feel that. It's unfortunate because the choice they're making is to be oblivious, is because in order to say Putin is a criminal, it's taking you out of your comfort zone, and that means that you are in a country of aggression. That means you are the one who is responsible. It's sad, because in a way, you're standing on the side of the truth and the light. You're protecting what is really dear. It's your home. Yeah. While Russians and my friends who are sharing exactly the same views as I am just feel that we don't have home anymore. Like we can't come home, we don't have home. And some of our relatives are not even supporting.
We're losing our homes. Like my home was Kiev and my home was St. Petersburg. I lost both.
Do you think a revolution will happen?
I can't assume that it will not, because otherwise there will be no life for everybody who I have in Russia. And with revolution, there will be at least a chance.
That gives me hope.
You're currently sat opposite someone who's on the other side of this conflict.
I'm not on the other side of this conflict.
Let me rephrase that. You're currently opposite someone who's a Ukrainian and opposite someone who's a Russian here. Is there anything you would like to say to each other?
You'll stop him.
I love that. Oh God, I want, if only every Russian person could say that, this would be done, because you can't imprison a whole country. I think speaking to you is really giving me hope that the resistance is growing and that a revolution is possible to overthrow our version of Hitler in 2022.
There is no choice.
If you have relatives in Russia or any friends, acquaintances, anyone, and if you have any people in Russia, brainwashed or not, just speak to them as much as possible. That's the only thing you can possibly do as well. That's all I have to say.
Sure. I am doing this. I'll do my best. What I would like to say to you, I mean, I just hope your family is safe and it all happens as soon as possible, and you keep strong.
Is there anything that you haven't had the chance to say that you want to say?
If we fail, you're next. If people in the West don't say something, don't try to do something, and they don't try to stop this, the person who's behind all this war will come for Europe.
Нет войне.
What does that mean?
No
Not a
war.
I believe Ukraine will win.
We will. We will. My country is strong and we protect our home and
Yes.
life of all Ukrainians. And truth is on our side.
Yes.
Thank you.
Все будет хорошо.
Слава Україні!
Героям слава!
Hi, my name is Alina. I'm a PR manager from Ukraine.
Hi, my name is Anne and I'm a photographer from Ukraine.